vibe is off. It's tired, not very cozy for my liking. The key pieces are far too spread apart. I need a change in some way. I'm a big fan of swapping furniture around. Every like half year to a year, I really like to swap all the furniture around. It makes the room feel completely different. Even just sleeping on the other side of the bed can change everything. So let's do it. This one kind of problem. My room isn't that big, and when I organized it the time that I moved in, I kind of put everything in the most optimal place to have as much walking room as possible. So we're gonna have to make some concessions. Now this room is very much my home studio combined with my bedroom. So the biggest obstacle that needs to get taken care of right away is the bed. And while I do enjoy the queen size bed that I bought years back, it makes arranging furniture around it very difficult. So what I've done is taken stock of all the large pieces of furniture and measured those. I measured the room itself, the complete dimensions with the window and the closet, the door. And I've mapped it all out on a piece of paper right here that you can see. Main pieces being this desk, that shelf, that bed, and then the space that needs to be behind the computer for the speakers, camera, everything, lights. Then with it all tracked, I copied it into Adobe Illustrator. With the grid view on, all I have to do is make up a value for each little box and correlate that to what I measured the room with, which is the imperial system. This was arguably an unnecessary two-step process, but I must admit that drawing things out brings me great satisfaction. Now that I've drawn this all out into Illustrator, I'll first assemble it into the current room so I know that my measurements are correct and everything is looking hunky-dory. Now I need to focus in on what I want to accomplish with the new arrangement. Ideally, what I'd like to accomplish is to connect the two desks together in an L shape, the one that I'm currently standing at and the one back there, while also giving space behind the computer. I want more of it so that I can get behind there. Now I could realistically do this without moving the bed, but that would only create a little bit of extra length behind the desk's back while simultaneously creating a lot of unusable space that I can't get to without climbing over the bed. And I don't want that. The reason I want the space behind the desk is twofold. First, I want the speakers to be further apart from each other than they are now. Right now, the screens are in the way. They're at the proper setting, which is equidistant from each other as they are to me, but the screens are in the way, so it's not very good. So I need them to be both further apart and further back to create a better situation where my screens aren't obscuring them and where that we get that equilateral triangle of measurements. Second, everything is kind of jammed up back there. I've got this desk pretty much as far back as I can get it without like knocking over the sub and without the sub cramming the cables in the back of it against the wall. But that means I can't really climb back there and adjust anything or add anything else. Like if I needed to add a light or a microphone or anything like that. I have as much shit back there as I can, and even the stuff that is back there is really kind of too much. So with a little finagling, I've reimagined the room in Adobe Illustrator. It's going to somewhat crush everything against the right wall, giving the only walkway to be straight ahead, and kind of split the room in two, hopefully giving what feels like some actual privacy to the bed. It's quite close to the closet, so I'm planning to remove the bifold door and potentially put up a drape of some sort, but I don't have anything to put up at the moment, so it's just going to be an open closet, which isn't a huge deal because it does act as a bit of a baffle when it's open. I've wanted to remove the door since I moved in anyway, so I'm not super upset about that. Bifold doors kind of suck in general, in my opinion. They usually stay open unless they're inconvenient to have open, which in my case, it's completely inconvenient to have open and completely inconvenient to have closed. With my measurements, this will be about 3 feet of space going along the left side of the room, and I'm not quite sure how that's gonna feel. It might feel cramped, it might not. I feel like I should have a plan B because I feel like a lot of these areas could kind of go completely awry. Like depending on how much space is available beside the bed, I'll likely only be able to enter the bed at the end of it, which could get kind of annoying real quick. As well, I'll kind of lose the nightstand that is my desk right now when I'm in bed, which might also be annoying because I won't be able to put like a glass of water down or my phone, which also kind of sucks. So with just a walkway on the left side of the room, that means a lot of the sound absorption is just going to leave one side of the room and it'll all be piled on the right side, and I don't know how that's going to affect recordings. And I'm honestly still not sure if the speakers will be out of the way of the monitors. So I don't know, but I kind of want to try it, see what happens. I feel like I need a new refresh anyways, and I'm excited, genuinely, to change this up. So I'm gonna move the camera set out in the corner and just kind of go for it. See you in a bit. So we're done, and I gotta say this turned out better than I thought it would. Mainly, I was able to keep about 1.5 feet of room behind my desk and beside my bed, so I can get in there and adjust cables or the settings on monitors, and most importantly, get into bed. One downside is that aside from the windowsill, I don't really have a nightstand, so I might have to make one in the future. Probably adjustable so that it's not really in the way, but that's getting ahead of myself. That's, you know, an idea for a future video or something I'll do off screen or something. Not so urgent. The hardest part was definitely moving the bed around. Every couple of feet of movement of the bed, I would have to reorganize the room and all of the stuff in it, so I ended up being locked in my room for a couple hours. Then, once the bed was in place and the desk was adjusted to the new location, I spent the rest of the time organizing around here. Now that the two desks were linked together, I kind of had to figure out where everything was going to go with the more space. I also realized I had a lot of extra space under my bed that I could use to store things that I wouldn't need for the foreseeable future. Like the extra fabric that I didn't use when I made the sound panels, or my old Warhammer model, or even some of my woodworking equipment that I'm not using right now. And yes, I did throw out quite a few things as well. And that's about it. It's all over now. The results were much better than what I expected, and I couldn't be happier with the new room layout. I would highly recommend doing this if you have the chance and are able to.